All right, hello everybody. Sorry for the wait on this. Um, got a bunch of crazy scheduling shenanigans, mostly on my end. Um, Today was definitely no exception, but I just kind of want to get to this. Um, uh, part of the shenanigans was me accidentally deleting all my stream archives on YouTube and having to re-upload most of them.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's been quite a month. So we are finally going to be doing the post E3 2021 discussion to the best of our ability, including some other stuff with me, my buddy Phil, and PS5 man.
Hello. Yeah, hello everybody. I'm the PS5. Yes, it's me. I finally arrived in the stream. Yes. Hello.
Yeah. But that's Curtis JudeKnight.
It's me.
And yeah.
This is my textbook. This is my $600 textbook.
Reeve might join us later during the stream. Kind of not sure. We're kind of playing it as we go, just so that we can get this stream covered. So yeah, as far as what went on E3, there's definitely going to be considerably less to talk about than our pre-discussion, although I'm pretty sure like a good 30 minutes of that was what the heck is that company and why they're doing at E3? What the heck is that company and why they're doing at E3? Why the heck is that company and why they're doing like all these random names. All these random names that we have no idea what they're doing. But even on the, the more recognizable names, we didn't kind of see too much. And I think part of it was kind of expected because it was the first E3 and because, with this still ongoing situation that requires all of us to be a bit more careful health-wise than usual.
Yep.
I can understand the difficulty of trying to come up with things to show for E3. Granted, that didn't affect everyone. There were a couple of ones that honestly had one of their best E3s this year, namely Nintendo and Microsoft.
I think what E3 this year really was just Nintendo featuring E3 2021.
Yeah,
that's really what this was.
And I do think that the all-digital format does work pretty well for E3, and that this year was a pretty good test run of that idea. It's just, I think quite a few companies were kind of caught with their pants down, so to speak. So that's basically what happened. But yeah. Because I guess to start off right away, we're pretty much going to give like a quick lightning rundown of companies that kind of showed stuff that didn't really amount to much. Those being Ubisoft, Gearbox, Take-Two, to some degree Bandai Namco, but they were kind of a little weird. They didn't have much to show in their actual time slot, but they did have some stuff to show just in a pretty awkward place. Square Enix, for the most part, and kind of Capcom. But
I need some water after those two words.
Okay, at least with Capcom, they at least kind of gave an upfront notice of what they were going to show. So it wasn't too much of a disappointment or anything like surprising in the worst way. It's just they brought what they had to show. They just didn't have much to show that one would expect out of an E3 presentation. But yeah. So, I guess let's kind of start with one particular elephant in the room, and that is Take-Two. Because what Take-Two did, instead of like showing off their games, they essentially kind of had like a panel regarding like improvements in the workplace for game developers. And as far as what I can say about that, I'm glad that sort of conversation is taking place, but I think they picked the wrong time and place to have it. Because as far as I'm aware, there is an actual conference specifically towards game developers, which I think is the GDC, if I recall correctly. And I think there would have been a much more appropriate place because it is specifically for game developers. And that way, not only would you have Take-Two involved, but you can have like company after company involved, like say Nintendo, Sega, Capcom, Bandai Namco. Some in particular that kind of really need to participate, like EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Konami, that sort of thing. That would have been a more appropriate place to have it. Not so much in regards to E3, because for E3, it's basically geared towards, the actual game announcements. And for like the actual game announcements, the people that are going to be paying attention to those are the people that are going to be buying and playing the games. Now, to be fair, especially with kind of how quickly news circulates, we have become more attuned to how people are being treated in the workplace in regards to game development studios, be it both small and big time developers, which is important because it gives context to kind of how the well-being of people are in a very high demanding environment, especially since some people who, maybe want to start developing games, they kind of need to see how things are to kind of prepare themselves for it. So, and I think the biggest return on whether or not a game development studio has good working conditions or not is the end quality of the game itself and how it's being released. Because, of course, when you have people that want to give it their all and are actually passionate about the project they're working on, you see that in the game. Whereas if you work people under grueling hours and conditions and that they're basically surviving to get a paycheck, that also shows in the game. So it's a very important conversation to have, especially in 2021. I think it was just kind of a misplaced execution. So, that's kind of the biggest thing regarding Take-Two. Gearbox and Ubisoft, I haven't really followed much of their stuff, but I've heard their conferences were incredibly unimpressive and underwhelming.
Yes, I actually did stream the Ubisoft event, and I had most of it was literally just me and Seiya talking about Guilty Gear lore and muting the stream
because you were trying to avoid DMCA, right?
It was literally nothing but DMCA. It was just like half of the stream was just it's on my YouTube channel actually. I talked about there. There was one thing that was which was fine. It was the Mario and Rabbids sequel that they announced. And then there's of course there's the Rosalina Rabbit meme where she's just like looking like ugh. That's the face everyone made when it watched
that rabbit looks so done. It's just like you won't be up for this.
Who the heck is making boom sounds outside? Like, come on,
someone shooting off fireworks.
It sure sounds like it's not 4th of July anymore, people. God.
I mean, it's 8 days away. It's still, I'm pretty sure people still have spares.
Stop being patriotic.
America Day was last week, or the week before, I think.
April Fool's was last week, Mr. Aizawa. People just be stupid over here. Really stupid. Anyways, so let's ignore that idiot. But yeah, so yeah, Ubisoft happened. That was about it. Ubisoft definitely had a conference this year. It was they really set the tone for E3 this year, just being like DMCA and one decent game, and that's it, and more DMCA
Yeah.
and more booze.
Who was the company that made what was it? Life is Strange.
That's Square Enix.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So the only one I can remember from
Screenlake's here joining us. Hello, Screenlake. Hi, how are you? Hello, Screenlake.
Okay, hold on. I need to, because I don't have an account with StreamYard, so I need to.
Oh no! Oh.
You don't really.
This-
You actually don't need it. You actually don't need an account with StreamYard. You just need to click on the link and have a
I'm
mic
just
source.
doing this so that
and
way.
it can-
Yeah. Just give me a sec. Trying to. That should work now, hopefully.
Boy, people just sure love to like make so much noise in this house. I need to get that chaos out.
But yeah, Reeve, we are live now, but you didn't miss much. We were just kind of starting running down. Running down kind of E3 overall and the companies that were either practically no shows or
did we lose Reeve?
Yeah, he disconnected himself for a bit.
While we're ready to Reeve, I was sorry.
Oh, he's back.
Okay.
Oh,
there we go.
All right. Cool.
Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, the cam was some odd reason fixated to work, even though I had nothing plugged in. But never mind. There we go.
That's okay. But yeah, we were just kind of running down E3 overall, and that a lot of companies barely had anything to show. Yeah.
I even thought that I think Maximilian did put out a video where he believed that, this is pre-E3 obviously, where he believed that since they didn't have anything to show since they didn't have an E3 last year, that they would have more to show off this year. Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Yeah.
Then again, Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft, did say I think a few months ago, that we were going to feel more of the effects of the this year more than the more than what we felt last year.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. That is kind of true.
Yeah.
But this
and we did also cover the whole Take-Two situation already.
Yeah. Oh, except Nintendo. Nintendo just does whatever they want, even if people don't like it. And people love it, whatever. Getting ahead of myself. So yeah, there was Ubisoft. What you guys think of the Mario and Rabbids sequel that was announced? If any thoughts at all?
It looked really good to me. Yeah.
It definitely looks like
I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
But it looks great, though.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like a good game. I just don't really care for the rabbits too much. So,
which I think is what most people think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like a good sequel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And at least Ubisoft had one good announcement.
Yeah, I think they
really stepped it up too from the previous game. At least in terms of graphics and making more of an open world look to it. It really will appeal to people who love that, that XCOM. Maybe even a little bit of the Fire Emblem in terms of the square-based combat. Which I like the Fire. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I like the Fire Emblem version, but for some reason I can't really get as much into XCOM, so that's why I probably would not go for this one.
I guess that sounds a bit more quote unquote realistic, but I don't know. I never played XCOM, so I have no idea.
It's a science fiction.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird that Ubisoft was the first one to open up E3 this year, and like I said, it was definitely a good way to start out. It was a good way to set the tone for E3 this year. I think they were the only ones who showed off anything. I think they were the only conference that Saturday. So that was definitely interesting, which is fine with me because I had lots of internet problems literally the day of that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Here keeps thinking. Now it's thinking more. Oh gosh, planet's falling apart. Everything's fine now.
Yeah, during that time I did not have power for
Oof.
it wasn't 3 days straight, but it was inconsistent power. Like 12 hours without it, 12 with it, and I only got to catch glimpses of E3, so I didn't get to watch anything live.
Well, you didn't miss much for you. Don't worry, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. I mean, there was also Devolver being an absolute meme, like they always are.
I missed the Devolver one.
I need to
watch that one though.
I did not watch that one, but I heard it was pretty funny from what people saw.
Well, yeah, that's basically how Devolver does their conferences. They just basically beam it up and have a jolly old time. They did also have games in there, but people love the Devolver part for the Devolver part of the show for the memes.
Mm-hmm.
So they usually just
anything.
I think they had a few games announced. I can't really remember
just
what they were, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bunch of indies, but yeah, it's usually it's usually the memes that they are usually known for. Which, you know what?
The memes.
I mean, hey, you know what? Hey, if they're having fun, I can't complain.
Yeah.
And sometimes memes are good marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the last year's one
is.
where they talked about they kind of made fun of the gaming industry's hype machine by saying like we need to generate hype.
Yeah.
So I have to look back at what they did this year because I completely missed their conference. Because was it part of E3 or was it like aired alongside of E3, similar to the IGN's Game Fest?
Devolver stuff this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was part of E3.
It was part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm imagining.
While we're on kind of the summer of games, I did bring up earlier that the way that Bandai Namco kind of did things was a little weird because they announced like two of their big games during that summer of games, and then when it finally came time for their slot,
summer of games
announced.
Also,
when it came time for their slot, they announced something that was like rather underwhelming compared to the two games they announced.
Yeah,
and they spent their entire time. They spent their entire time.
They could have just talked more about Elden Ring during the actual E3 conference. Just kind of announced it at Summer Games. Yeah, they should have did more of a either in depth or another trailer or something to kind of balance it out. But like you said, they just had all the heavy hitters right there in there. In the summer
Elden Ring and Tales of Arise. I think that's the next.
Matt,
one.
I love how you completely ignored the Summer Game Fest that happened right before E3, even though basically it was an E3 conference.
Yeah,
they announced. I'll talk about.
Well, they only had two good games I think that were announced, which was Elden Ring.
Summer Game Fest. Yeah, they had the fall. Well, first off, if I recall, I think at the Summer Game Fest it had 2B in Fall Guys.
Yes, that happened.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Wow.
And I think that actually happened. Yeah, that happened. Come on. Summer Game Fest may as well have been like E3, a part of the first part of E3. Really, it really should have been. What else was shown off that was interesting? I think Death Stranding DLC got announced, and I think they went into a bit more detail on that stuff or that remaster for PS5 at the State of Play happened last week.
Yep.
And then they had a long interview with the Grand Mothma dude from Mandalorian, which Kaius just had to point out how much they both love and hate Star Wars at the same time, and they won't shut up my own string.
They also announced the Ash and the Evil Dead, which looked kind of interesting. Even though if it's made by the same people that made what's that game? Friday 13th. If it's made by that company, then it's going to be kind of stiff in its animation styles overall. But but hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not just a run around killing things and waiting to get back into new lobbies to do it all over again type of thing.
Yeah.
So actually, I do want to talk a little more. Actually, if you don't mind, before I move on, I want to talk more about Tales of Arise. I did make a reaction trailer. Let's talk about the Nightblood. So they showed off 2 other characters. This one dude who looks like he's from the Fate gotcha game. Kasara is the Night Girl, the one with the big shield and the butt armor. That is like the only.
I mean, to be fair, that is a part that you should be protecting.
That is true. That is true.
Matt.
That is a part that you should be protecting.
People love Kasara for like 2 very important reasons. I just made that joke. Sorry. But yeah, dude, Tales of Rise is looking much better. I did watch a bit more of gameplay of it, and I do kind of feel like it has the same problem with Berseria, where characters are just talking a little too much during gameplay. But other than that, it's an action RPG Tales game. I made a reaction video of it, and it was very, very fun to watch that. And then, Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. It no longer burns. It no longer burns, everyone.
He got his Elden Ring.
Were you surprised at the release date, though? Of how soon?
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised it's coming out like January of next year. I was genuinely surprised. I think like most FromSoft games tend to release in the winter of those years.
Right.
They usually release their games like let's say like winter of the coming up year. Because the winter starts in December, so like usually they'll release their games I think around like January to April. Which Elden Ring coming out in January makes no surprise. And then people and then spoiler alert, there's a poison swamp level, and then it's just like the chat people are like there will be a poison swamp level. We know.
In every FromSoft game.
There's always even Demon Souls, there is a poison swamp level. But yeah, Elden Ring looks like they're really like pushing things a bit in a very different direction. I hope it looks like first off, horseback's in the game. No FromSoft has ever had horseback on it before, which is very. It's just like Shadow the Colossus. No. So let's see. So what's an interesting thing I can talk about with Elden Ring that I haven't talked about in my own video? Well, the game apparently is supposed to have 4-player co-op now instead of just usual 3-player co-op. And I think the way they're balancing it with horseback is that if you have other players in your lobby, then you can't ride on horseback. I think that's what they're doing. Then again,
everywhere.
Then again, that'd be really cool. That actually, I can imagine it right now. 4-player just riding off into battle on horseback, and that's some true game. That's some fuel. That is some Nico type game right there. Nico is was the original game. Sorry, Nico was the development name for Shadow of the Colossus originally, which had the exact same premise. Anyways, but yeah, they showed off all the crazy looking bosses. They showed off the armor lady, who for a good hot minute stole Lady Dimitrescu's status as the big Twitter waifu. Just for a few minutes, a few minutes, yeah, a little bit.
I don't know who the new Twitter waifu is. Is it still that virtual Samsung assistant?
Oh, please, Matt. That was that's already done.
Is it still the virtual Samsung?
It's Twitter, Matt. It's Twitter. Everything dies in everything dies in 24 hours. Every new thing dies in 24 hours. Trust me. But what else is there to say about Elden Ring so far? Yeah, I did make a video on it as well. And yeah, I mean, Elden Ring. Excuse me, looks fantastic. I'm super excited for it. Yeah, it's like Samsung is still the waifu. Is it? I don't know. But yeah, so that's everything I got to say about Elden Ring. You can check out my video.
Okay, and I think, I think afterwards, it was mainly Microsoft and Square the next day, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Sunday was Microsoft and Square Enix.
Yeah.
So let me think. Microsoft showed off a lot of stuff, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, they showed off a lot of good stuff. Unfortunately, since I don't really follow Xbox, I haven't been able to remember most of it. But
Bill,
I remember I remember when I was watching it live, it was looking pretty good.
Phil, do you remember like a lot of the stuff they showed off at the Microsoft event? Because I'm only thinking of a few things I remember.
So the main thing I remember is Halo. multiplayer gameplay. Well,
Yes.
kind of gameplay. It's like a trailerish version of the gameplay. Them announcing that it actually is free to play, which was really cool.
Yep.
What else did they show?
They had this
Starfield.
really.
Didn't they show Forza? I think they showed like a random
Forza.
Forza
which
Horizon.
is
They always
weird.
have Forza.
Yeah. But it was like driving through, like they. Oh, now I remember because it was really weird. Because at the end, it turned into what's that game with the race cars and soccer?
Rocket League.
Yeah,
Rocket
they
League.
turned into Rocket League
Fast and
randomly at the
Furious.
end. Yeah, like at the end, it was really random because it was like, here's Forza, and by the way, here's bouncing on the trampoline, going through a thing and turning, and I didn't know what they were doing at the end of that, but it looked good before then. What else did they have?
There was also this really good 3D. There was also they have Outer Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds 2, and then they also showed what's that new Bethesda one?
Starfield.
Starfield, yes, had its like mini like cinematic thing, but no real details, and I think except for the release date, which was announced on their little like launch pad thing,
right?
Like
Which I find odd because it's I believe it was like November something of next year, but it had like a specific date. It's like why not just say, holiday 2022 instead of giving a specific date? I find that kind of strange.
I feel like it's going to change easily. More likely a delay.
Well, I think they might be far enough along, hopefully, in behind the scenes, and they just don't want to show off. Like, because to me, all the Fallout style games are pretty similar in the fact, other than like just pretty much a new skin on top of it. So they probably don't want to show that right now. Just to get the name out, like it's coming, and then
they also did title drop Elder. They also title dropped Elder Scrolls 6. They did title drop that.
That was not at the C3.
That was the previous one.
No, that was back in 20.
That was
2019, or was that Game Awards 2019?
Elder Scrolls 6 was at Bethesda 2019 E3.
But going off what Matt was saying though, now one thing that was really confusing this year for me is that before they actually showed the E3 like presentations, whoever was hosting it, like IGN and a couple other news outlets, they were showing what could have happened. So they were showing previous trailers as if they were new trailers. So they did show like Matt mentioned, they showed the Elder Scrolls like in their little intro thing. And I think even like Bayonetta 3 was shown, and like like they kind of show like previous trailers saying, oh, this could be happening now, and it all blends together, which really didn't help them didn't help with like Microsoft and things, because it's hard to remember what was actually announced and what was just Game Pass, like hey, this could come to Game Pass in the future type thing.
They had some Game Pass announcements too.
Yeah, with Game Pass, the biggest one to me was the Psychonauts 2 coming up.
Yeah, I was talking about actually. That they showed off the trailer. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, that was the main thing I can remember. That and Halo.
Yeah, Halo Infinite.
Funny enough, I got like a demo of the Ultimate Game Pass because there's the Xbox app on gaming PCs and stuff.
Xbox,
but it wouldn't let me down. They wouldn't let me download games to my external hard drive for some reason, so I didn't keep it.
Which we could probably talk later, but it depends on which hard drive you were using and if you were getting the
external.
That's
like
odd.
External. Because Steam was able to allow me to download it externally.
Yeah, because I could do that with my Xbox One. So maybe so maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll fix it with an update or something.
Yeah. So Matt, if you don't mind, I want to talk a little bit more about Halo Infinite's trailers that they showed off, because Halo Infinite I think was probably my favorite game from the Microsoft event. Was actually genuinely like, I was like, you know what, this looks pretty good, I gotta say. Yeah, I was even talking about this with my friend who's also a big Xbox fan. The guy who got me the PS5. He was like, yeah, like it's kind of interesting how they're charging $60 for the campaign, and then the multiplayer is free. So I imagine a lot of people are going to go for the free multiplayer first before they pick the campaign.
Yeah.
Which
that actually is a good way of going about it.
Then
But
again,
they also have to count Game Pass because the campaign's going on for that.
Then again, here's the thing: a lot of Halo campaigns, I don't think are like super long though. They're like maybe
It's usually like 10 missions,
5 to 10 hours, I think. So I don't. It also depends on if the story is good, which given how Halo 5 Guardians went, was apparently not the best direction that they went in.
But this one's open world, correct? Like it's more of like open world style.
I think so. So in that way, maybe that's how they're gonna like try to what's the word?
Expand it out.
Like pad it out. The gameplay.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see on the campaign stuff if any of it's like any good. Because I mean, from what I've seen of the story so far, it doesn't seem super engaging.
Right.
But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the multiplayer, dude, I think they're adding like a grappling hook to the gameplay, and I'm like, that's genuinely pretty cool. There's a part of the trailer where they show, a dude using a grappling hook to latch on to a ship going in the sky, and then he mounts it and then just like takes it out the ship and then uses it for himself. Which I was like, that's genuinely pretty interesting. Like that could be this could be a possibly fun multiplayer mode. And in case anyone's wondering,
they stole it from Doom a little bit.
And in case anyone's wondering, no, there's Halo Infinite is not going to have battle royale. It's not going to have a battle royale. That's what people were kind of worried about. Is Halo just going to do multi battle royale? And then I think they said that but the only thing BR stands for in Halo is battle rifle. So I don't even know how a Halo. Then again, a Halo battle royale, if it is done right, could have some potential. I mean, Warzone is like really popular for that same reason.
I was gonna say the only thing I didn't like with the Halo multiplayer reveal, this probably just comes from playing the older ones and not being as used to this, is that it looks like it's going to have a lot of microtransactions, especially with the skins of the different characters. Because that's what they were really like in the trailer. They were really like showing, like, hey, look, this Master Chief looks different than this costume. But they didn't really show it as a microtransaction. They showed it as like this is part of the multiplayer experience. But with it being free, I know that's how they're going to make all of their money.
Yeah.
The thing is, even 5 had a good amount of microtransactions for Guardians.
Yeah. And it is free to play, so I guess that does kind of sort of justify that part, but I don't know.
Oh, and also speaking of, I guess, Halo and with the not Sony presentation, with the Xbox presentation.
What Sony presentation?
Well, what it means that they showed the reason I kind of forgot all the other games they showed is that they had a ton of shooters. Like pretty much the only games they showed were all shooter based, which as a fan of Xbox, as a fan of Xbox, I was really actually disappointed at that because their whole all the games to look forward to in that system are going to be either shooters or third party experiences similar to Battlefield, which they gave a ton of time to.
Yeah, I think they did show off a lot of Battlefield. 2040 something, I think it's called. I don't know.
2048 or 2042.
I think it's 2042.
No, 2069 is clearly what that number is.
But I was really disappointed in that fact of how many shooters there were, because while watching it, they all blended together so much. I thought I was watching the same trailer and it ended up being for a different game.
There was one shooter they showed off that was Russian themed, and it was this is just. I was like, dude, this is just Metro.
Exactly. Yes. It ended up being I think Outlast or something.
It's Metro, but more Russian.
And then there was Back 4 Blood, that Left 4 Dead spiritual successor. But that was shown before.
And there was another one. There was Back 4 Blood, and then there was this other more 60s style. It had more colors to it, but it was still a Left 4 Dead clone.
Was that the last game they showed off? That was some kind of vampire thing?
No, but that was another one.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That
was another one, but there was one more in between. I completely forgot its name, but it looked like a mixture of Left 4 Dead and what's that new one? Deathloop, like their styling of like graphic style. Yeah, it was like that mixed with the Left 4 Dead style, and like I said, like that's why all of them blended together because it's like, oh look, Left 4 Dead. Oh wait, this is another Left 4 Dead clone. At the end, a Left 4 Dead what's it called, vampire clone. Like it was too much of that.
Vampires.
I mean, the vampire one did look interesting though.
But it did. It looked interesting because there was
combined with everything else, though. It kind of became too samey, especially considering that all these games are going to come out in the next year or two. So it's going to be
unless they get canceled, which a lot of them do.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that is kind of part of what the Xbox crowd is kind of known for, or PC crowd, is that they do like their kind of shooty bang games. One of the few I think not so much casual because there's kind of competitive scene to it as well, but that's just kind of how it is. It's like you got your shooters, you got your racing games, and you got your sports games. That's usually kind of in like the Xbox field. I think one of the few games that they didn't that they showed that wasn't a shooter, and it's actually the one that I thought was the most interesting. It was that HD 2D RPG Suikoden looking game called
I forgot.
Chronicles.
Yeah,
it was
that was during Microsoft, right?
However you pronounce it, yeah.
That was
That
looked really good.
It's made by the same people who made Suikoden back in the day, so it's a spiritual successor to it.
Yeah, and was that the one that had the two? Was that the one that had like it had one that was coming out next year and then one the following year?
Yeah.
Not Solid Ice, Suikoden.
I'm kind of wondering if that's solely on Microsoft, on the Microsoft platforms, PC, Xbox, or if that would be multi-platform later.
It is multi-platform.
I'm guessing multi-platform. I think it's like Battlefield, where like it was shown in Microsoft's presentation, but it's going to more systems afterward.
Yeah, they probably just bought the rights. They probably just paid a licensing fee to like show it off at their event first.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of that stuff.
But I mean, it looked pretty cool.
That's why I think still the best Microsoft conference was definitely the one from 2018, where they showed off a bunch of great games like Sekiro got shown off then, DMC5 got announced, Tales of Vesperia remaster I think was also shown off there, and then the KH3 trailer with the anti-aqua ending. Oh, yep.
But I do think this year was still pretty good for them though.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember like when it happened, everyone was like, "Yeah, Microsoft literally wins by default." Yeah. That's sad but true. What do you want to say?
Well, that's before Nintendo showed up.
Don't worry about
that.
But there was actually.
Yes.
Yeah, Reeve,
go. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. There actually was one announcement from the Xbox conference that, honestly, I don't even know why I was excited about this because I don't even play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not that interested. It was Sea of Thieves cross Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I was about to say, how come
that was actually really good.
I don't know why, but I was actually just very excited with that, even though I don't even play the game.
Talk about like the perfect crossover for a game that like they finally decided to do.
Mm-hmm. I heard,
it is interesting because from what it seems like, Sea of Thieves is becoming another game among a list of games that, they started off with a rather crummy launch, but then, with update after update, they're actually getting pretty good.
Yeah.
It's becoming the No Man's Sky of the Seven Seas.
Oh, gosh. But that's giving No Man's Sky too much credit.
Yeah.
Well, No Man's Sky has gotten better. It has gotten a lot better.
I'm sure it has, Matt. I'm sure.
No, it has.
They lived up to all their the original hopes that they made like many years ago. They actually brought all that stuff back into the game. Just no one really plays it to really see the changes.
No Man's Sky is a good game. I'm sure it is, Dan. I'm sure it is.
It wasn't, but
while you're enjoying your No Man's Sky, I'm enjoying my Spider-Man on PS5 at 60 FPS.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sorry.
Let Phil talk next. Let Phil talk next.
Oh, I was gonna say really quick with the crossover to Sea of Thieves with the Disney with Pirates of the Caribbean. the one thing I heard from a lot of people online and like some like YouTube commentators is that they did that because the original Sea of Thieves didn't really have a story to build on. So instead, they kind of bought a story from Disney to kind of actually, to kind of give them like a basis to work off of. So now so they'll use like Pirates of the Caribbean going forward as like their base, and then they can build Sea of Thieves off of that. Which hopefully is worth all the money they're sinking into it. I'm interested to see how many people actually jump back to it for the Pirates of the Caribbean and actually stick with it after that. Because I'm sure it can't be. I don't think it could be too much content for like because it's not gonna be like the whole play through all the movies type of thing. So I wonder how long it actually is for that update.
Yeah, I mean it isn't a bad idea to kind of jumpstart things. Just hopefully they can keep the momentum going. But yeah, I'm going to mention one more thing before we kind of have to move things along a bit because we kind of spent a little extra time on Microsoft, which I mean, to be fair, it was one of the better conferences. So there was actually plenty to talk about this time. They capped off with quite an announcement, and that is the Xbox mini fridge.
Yeah. I completely forgot that even happened.
No, they're actually making one. I don't know what the price is for that. I would be surprised if it was like a couple $100 or something. Especially because it's like very personal.
Can I at least stick my Series X inside the fridge and keep it cooler?
That would be a great feature.
That's the $1 million question. Is what I want to know.
Good question. I'm sure someone will try that out.
Put the PS5 inside of the Xbox Series X fridge.
Oh, that's just dirty. That's a mimic right there. That's an Xbox mimic.
But funny enough, I actually did get a mini fridge after seeing that announcement, mainly because I kind of figured that it would be way too pricey because just kind of the design of it is probably going to be most of the price, and I'm not sure if it will be as an effective mini fridge or if there will be any available because given how scalping's going on as of late, I'm pretty sure those will be gone as soon as they arrive.
Scalpers should be in jail.
So I actually got a mini fridge from an actual company that does it, and it's been working out so far. It's actually like a nice, really small one that could fit like 4 full-size bottles, or those taller cans, or like 6 of those like average pop cans. So. And it can be charged via USB power bank if you want to, which is cool. It's very portable. So hey, I mean,
the car adapter too.
It does. It has a car adapter, and it'll can also be plugged in via wall outlet. So, and I've been getting good mileage out of it so far. So,
all right,
that's it. It managed to get me a mini fridge, just not the one that Microsoft wanted me to get.
we just need a skin. We need to get you a Xbox Series X skin for your mini fridge.
I mean, the kind I got had like a vintage Coca-Cola look, so I'm pretty sure I'm pretty cool with that.
Excellent.
But moving on proper now, we have Square Enix. And sadly, there isn't a lot to say with them. Square Enix kind of had.
There's a lot to say about how bad this conference was.
No. Kill chaos.
It was okay.
Well, to kind of start things off with Square, I think they kind of had a similar problem with Bandai Namco, just in a different way, where a lot of their interesting stuff they showed prior to E3, which kind of left them with like a lot of things to fill in. Because like they already had the Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest where they announced a lot of Endwalker stuff, and then they announced a lot of stuff during the Dragon Quest 35th anniversary stream. So I felt like that kind of had a lot of them scrambling. Because what it could basically sum up. There's basically 3 things to sum up the Square Enix conference. The first thing was all the not really, because they just kind of added in music or had completely silent areas.
But
no, the first thing
on the rebroadcast on the broadcast from other sources like IGN. Don't you put your finger at me, young man.
No, let me state my points, please, to keep things moving. The first thing was that, there was too much time spent on the couple of games that they had from Marvel Studios.
Right.
Namely, Guardians of the Galaxy and DLC and Avengers DLC that no one really cared for because the game wasn't that good.
I would argue that the Avengers one was pretty cool though for their reveal of it. Now they might have spent too much time on it, but showing that it existed, because that was one of my predictions from earlier that I saw online that came true, was that they would have a Guardians of the Galaxy one, and to see it kind of, to me, fixes what the Avengers was trying to do by only focusing on the single player and not going to multiplayer. So I thought that was actually pretty good. The weird thing is that it's coming to Switch, but they never said it was a. But they never said that it was a what's it called, like a streaming port?
Yeah, the cloud version.
Yeah, it was a very tiny print. Yeah, so if you like control and lag, then
here's the worst thing. Here's the worst thing about Guardians on the Square Enix event. Even on their own events, the game had a lot of frame rate drops.
Oh yeah,
a lot. It dropped frames so badly on stream.
Yep.
Not to mention
imagine that on the Switch.
Yeah, not to mention they showed like way too much of that game. They were just padding out the event at that point where it's like, oh, we're still talking about this game. Move on, dude.
You had the entire first level.
Yeah. And the more I watch it, the more I don't care.
There's actually two things I want to mention about the two Marvel games.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. First off, I like all the voices that they have from the Guardians game, except for Star-Lord. I think he sounds too much like a Surfer Dude Skater Bro. Secondly, specifically for Avengers, they had announced a while ago that Spider-Man was coming as a Sony exclusive for whatever reason. Where the heck is Spider-Man?
He's in Miles Morales. Don't worry. He's in a better game.
I mean, I don't play the game, but it's where's Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's really bad when they use that as a selling point for the game, and he still is nowhere to be seen. And he doesn't even have his own level. He's just going to be a character in the game. So they should have the model done by now, at least.
I haven't heard it as Marvel. We should have the Marvel done by now.
Yeah. But getting back to my points. Really, the second point is the only the quote unquote interesting stuff that they shown was stuff for mobile games.
Oh yeah.
So the Nier mobile game is finally getting localized. They also had some updates for some other mobile games that were already around. And then, of course, probably the biggest slap in the face, which kind of got people from kind of bored to outright miffed, was that they announced a pixel remaster compilation of the first 6 Final Fantasy games.
Yep.
And they only announced it for mobile and Steam.
They confirmed it was Steam or just PC?
Why?
You get a Steam account, Matt?
Steam.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I was about to say, I could see them putting it on Epic instead. So they did that with Kingdom Hearts, and that's just moved over.
Yeah. That's a topic for another day, though.
But at the same time, it's wait a minute, you're not announcing it for for Nintendo, for Switch and PlayStation too?
Even though it can easily run those things?
Yeah, it's why? I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if they showed up for consoles later, but that seems like the sort of thing that you should release coinciding.
I think with that one, I think they just didn't know that the appeal of how many people would want remasters of the first game, so they just said, "Oh, this might appeal more casually, so we'll put it on Steam and on mobile." But
no, that most of the people that have been into Final Fantasy games since the beginning would actually really want those.
Oh no, I agree. I just mean they probably just think it's more of a casual thing, and that's probably why I put it on more of the mobile and Steam, because I think they had some, didn't they already have it on mobile previously on.
Yeah, they already have. They already have it on mobile devices, but just not a true, a kind of a more truer form, like in the pixelated sense.
Right.
Which is why I don't get it why they are placing those on platforms that already kind of have a version of those games.
True.
What I find weird is that they're actually going to be taking 5 and 6 off of the
Steam store.
Apple. Yeah, well, I was going to say the Apple Store and the whatever
Steam.
it is for Android that's
Steam.
used.
Google Play.
They're keeping 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just find that odd. Why only 5 and 6?
Yeah, weird.
I guess to kind of get more interest in like buying the bundle. Like if you loved 5 and 6, you have to buy the bundle now.
That's weird.
So,
But all right. Moving on to like my third point is I think the other two major announcements, which is Lost Babylon, which is the game that they're working on with Platinum.
It's called
Babylon's Fall. Yeah,
Babylon's Fall.
Oh, sorry, Babylon's Fall.
If you will allow me, if you will allow me, I would like to take the helm on talking about Babylon's Fall and how that game just crashed and burned as soon as it was shown off. So
it's a live service.
Babylon's Fall was shown off at E3 2019, a Square Enix's event, and it's being made by Platinum Games. And people were like, "Cool, Platinum Games. We trust them to do this." I have never seen even. So let's just set something. Let's set a tone here. It was so bad that Maximilian Dude disliked the announcement video live on stream.
Oh,
yeah. That is quite a vote of disapproval.
Because has he ever disliked anything other than that?
Sometimes, but you don't see that very often. Here's what's wrong with Babylon's Fall. There's a lot of things actually. One, the game has this weird drunk painting filter on it, and it is so difficult to tell what is even happening half the time on the stream on the game. Or sorry, on the trailers half the time, because it looks like the game's drunk half the time. It looks like you're wearing these drunk goggles to see what drunk people see. That is what it looks like in that trailer. The voice acting is terrible. There's like one dude's like, the Babylon's Fall or whatever.
Like a cheap Skeletor.
Oh, Elden Ring, now. It no longer burns. Now it's cold. So also, aside from being a live service, which is also bad.
Yep.
It has some of the laziest animations I've seen from a quote unquote AAA game in a very long time,
and from a Platinum game too.
Yes. So here's how you block. Wait, no. Well, no. I'm not giving you too much credit. This is my block. Imagine the PS5 is just is there a minute.
Just floating.
I'm just behind the PS5, just walking around, doing my stuff, and this thing is blocking for me.
Yeah.
So it's like they literally just put a little magic block, a little magic barrier in front of the player while they just run around in different places. And they're not even like blocking the attacks or anything.
Isn't that similar to Nier though?
I think
to Nier Automata.
Yeah, but Nier's about Automata.
That's true.
Yeah, but
here's the thing. They kind of already show their swords kind of floating all over the place, as well as them holding the swords. So it still kind of makes some sort of sense, and especially since it's like robots and androids and stuff, you can kind of get away with saying that it's like some sort of electromagnetic shenanigan sort of thing.
But I was okay with the blocking part. It was just, to me, it was more of like the changing it to a live service part. That's
I think the live service part is the part that has me the most concerned, because anything that goes on the trailer can be smoothed out if given enough time.
Let me refresh myself on Babylon's Fall.
The live service the live service is what really kind of has me concerned.
Yeah, the character
Especially-
spaces didn't look good either.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's.
very
Oh,
true.
okay. So, here's the YouTube like and dislike ratio. On YouTube, Babylon's Fall, 1.1K likes, 5.6K dislikes.
Yeah, seems about right.
Yeah.
But
It
but when the
looks-
game comes out, though, people still probably buy it to
Yeah.
see. And I mean, because I'm just like my interest in like I guess we're kind of worried with that game is that I don't think either team has really done a live service, especially not Platinum, but
Square Enix
Square I
technic-
guess has the one. Final
Avengers.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, but that's a bad example.
You know what's the best live service game? Monster Hunter.
Not true.
Yeah, like it's just. I'm looking at it right now. It is. They just put a shield in front of the player, and they put a shield in front of the player. They're just walking around and standing there in front of them, just floating in front of them, and they called it a day.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
if it takes
all right.
after, like if its structure is similar to Avengers, like if they're just moving a bunch of their games to that type of model, then this game's going to be dead months after it comes out.
Maybe even a week after it
Yeah.
comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
but yeah,
so,
Babylon's Fall happened.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kill
let's
Chaos
talk-
yet?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna end Square with probably
Chaos,
the big meme that came out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not in the best way.
I
is
want
that,
to kill chaos.
no,
Yeah, losing with killing
chaos.
chaos. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you imagine that
geez,
being right.
settle down there, average Joe.
Didn't
Yeah,
lose, we're going to kill chaos.
that was the other thing that they were talking about is that the main protagonist. It's supposed to take place during Final Fantasy 1, but the main protagonist looks like some sort of trucker dude. Like
Yeah,
some
he looks
sort of farmer.
yeah.
He looks like Luxor from Kingdom Hearts for some reason, but not
No.
near, but not.
I basically called him a Duluth Trading Company model because that's
Yes.
what he looks like.
Well, he looks like one of the guys from Final Fantasy 15, but just like
worse.
the rough,
No,
version of
even
him.
those guys look better. Even those guys look better than.
Yeah.
It's like it's like they have like characters with a modern aesthetic, but it's supposed to be like a more medieval setting. It's like I don't get
Oh,
it.
true. Yeah.
Very weird. Yeah.
That is such a clash. And I
But
mean,
then again, I mean, the clash also is the amount of blood that this one had in comparison to some of the other Final Fantasies.
like,
Like literally
Well, yeah.
taking
Made by
guys
the
and
Neo
smashing
team.
them into the ground.
Mhm.
Oh, he was made by Ninja, yeah.
Team Ninja.
Sorry, Team Ninja. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
yeah, Ninja Theory is another company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're Xbox now, I think.
So the amount of times they said chaos in that game in that trailer is about as many times as they use the word darkness in Kingdom Hearts. But
Yeah.
but since this is Kingdom Hearts, this is officially bad now.
Yeah.
I
mean,
So
I,
yeah,
I wanted to give the game a chance, but I heard that how they handled the demo was so poor, and I'm just like,
Oh.
ooh.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about the demo.
okay. So
I didn't
Could anyone
hear
play
anything
it?
good about it.
I
Didn't
know
it
I know
corrupt
exactly.
No one
file?
could.
Yeah,
No
it
one
like
could play it,
corrupted
that's
every
the thing.
file.
I mean, wasn't the demo available on PS5?
The demo was corrupted for
Well, yeah,
for like
but it was
24
corrupted.
hours. Yeah.
Yep.
Like no
But
one
they
could
were-
play
And it
it.
took them
They
forever to
just-
fix it.
Hmm.
That's
So
a very bad sign.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Final Fantasy, whatever they want to call it, Final Fantasy Chaos, whatever, we'll call it Chaos now.
Yeah.
So
Final Fantasy Chaos. That's what.
so it's
that's what
so
we've
it's a
done.
Souls-like game, and it's very Neo inspired, which makes a lot of sense because Team Ninja also developed Neo. It looks super lame and generic.
Mhm.
Like it is.
Yeah.
Imagine Neo, but not nearly as enjoyable or fun. At least Neo has cool armor and fun combat. This one does not look fun at all. This one is just like break smash people and make them into crystals. There is armor you can get, and you can get different armor in the demo. You can get like obviously you can change your character just a little bit, but honestly not by too much. You mostly just get the same armor that like your other party members do. Let's talk about how bad the party members are. Oh my gosh, they are so useless. They're absolutely like, why are they even there? They
Are
are
we
worse
talking
than Donald and
Donald
Goofy. I'm dead
healing?
serious. They are worse than Donald and Goofy.
Healing. Oh, worse?
Yeah, the worse than
They're worse.
Worse. Much worse.
They are worse than Donald and Goofy. They are like, why are they even here? They do nothing but get in the way.
At least Donald and Goofy got better in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. Well, everyone got better in 3. Everything got better in 3. Anyways, so I think if I recall correctly, like if party members go down in the battle, then you have to revive them manually to get them back up. That's not like, it's kind of hard to do that in a Souls-like game where it's already super difficult. Also, the last boss you fight is the boss from at the end of the trailer. He sucks. Why? So a lot of Souls games are known for tracking. For a lot of hits, just kind of tracking your movements, despite you dodging. Yes. This fight does that like to a cap. This is what people think Souls games are like. This is what people think they're like, because he tracks. He has command grabs that track you, like even though you dodge through them, and he still catch you anyway. It is complete nonsense. It is complete nonsense that they just let this happen. And what do you get for beating the boss? It's like after you whittle down his HP, which by the way takes forever to do. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes to beat that boss. It is boring. It is both boring and frustrating at the same time. What's your reward? Thank you for playing, Lou. That's all. It just no ending, no cutscene. You beat him. It's just like thank you for playing. That's all. Thank you for playing. That's all it is. And I didn't play. I didn't play myself. No, I didn't watch. I didn't play myself. I watched people play it, and I was like, dude, this looks bad. Yeah. It also. Okay, so here's the funny thing about this game. Also, the people were talking about. It looks like a PS2 game.
Do they even know what a PS2 game looks like?
Yeah, like did you not play a PS2 game? Okay, look. Yeah,
just in general, I don't like that complaint because it's like, okay, have you actually played a GameCube game or a PS2 game or a Dreamcast? Yeah, really. And some of those can look really good too.
Yeah,
for the record.
Kingdom Hearts 2 and Zone of the Enders look amazing upscale. It looked absolutely amazing upscale.
Metroid Prime is an amazing level design.
And that came out in 2002.
What was that, Phil?
No, do they mean that in terms of the level design?
The visuals.
Yeah,
like, well, the visuals.
Only the visuals and not like the.
Yes, only the visuals.
Okay. Because I looked at the structure of the castle and like all the scenes they were showing. I was like, oh, this does look kind of samey throughout, which would be very repetitive. Was the demo like that too? Like where it was just all in that one castle room?
It was in that one castle. Yeah, I remember looking at it being very repetitive. Here's another thing. Here's what I think it looks like. I think it looks like a last gen game. It looks like a last gen game. It really does look like that. It looks like a PS4 game. So I can tell you, I suspect that this game most likely was being developed when the PS4 was still the main, when PS4 and Xbox were still the main consoles. But because the PS5 came out and everyone wants to get on the PS5, they were I'll just like make it a PS5 exclusive. It looks like Bloodborne at the worst, like with the worst textures ever, like because everyone knows that Bloodborne, when you look up close, Bloodborne can look pretty ugly sometimes. It looks like that, but worse.
Okay.
Other than that,
I was gonna say really quick. I guess just real quick. I guess the only thing is I can't really fault them too much for showing like the bad version of the visuals, where we also criticized what's it called CD Projekt Red for showing upscale versions of games, and then most of the other systems not being able to reach that. So especially if it's coming out for PS4 and PS5, then it's better for them to show the lower version of PS4. And then they kind of be surprised at how it looks on the PS5. That's I just want to
or the infamous Watch Dogs 1 example.
Exactly. Yep.
But I am going to move things along because, I want to keep things moving and, we still got Nintendo to talk about.
Yeah, that's about all I want to talk about Square anyway.
Yeah, but overall, that's not one of Square's finer performances. In fact, I think it's almost, personally, I think it was getting to points where it's like E3 2015 bad. Not quite there, but it felt like it was going there.
Ironically, that was my first E3 ever watched. Anyways, So what's next? Capcom, I think.
I think Capcom was the next day.
But I think
if you
Talk
skip
about
Take
with them,
Two,
there really wasn't much to talk about.
I want to talk about how bad that conference was. So yeah,
Well,
Capcom.
no, I mean they showed it. They showed exactly what they promised. It's just
Here's
they
the- no,
didn't
here's the
promise a
problem.
lot.
Here's the problem with that, Matt. They showed off. They are obviously, yeah. They showed off. They tell everyone, oh, hey, here's what we're going to show off. We have a problem in the first 5 minutes of this conference. The first game they showed off, we're going to talk about Resident Evil Village, and then we all assumed they're like, oh, they're going to be talking about DLC for the game probably because RE7 got DLC.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that. They were like, it was literally an announcement of an announcement. They're like, hey guys, we have DLC for Village. Okay, bye. That was like how it started, and then we all looked at that and we were just like, oh no. So Monster Hunter Stories 2 had another trailer again.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about that, I've heard a lot of people who have played Stories 2 really like the game. Apparently it's actually really good from what I've heard. I
think a friend of ours is liking it.
Yeah, Brandon, he's really enjoying the game. Everyone I hear who's played it is enjoying it though, which is fine.
And there's a demo that lasts 6 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Monster Hunter Rise. Their updates. You have some costumes. You have a small event quest. That's literally it. Moving on. Ace Attorney. It's been a long time.
The Great Ace Attorney.
They spent a long time on that trailer of a game that's already been out and it's only now coming out in the States now.
Way too much time.
Shut up, Reeve.
Wait. Can I just say one quick thing on the Ace Attorney thing?
Sure,
is that so my sister's a huge fan of that game, and we didn't watch it at the same time, but we talked about it afterward. The problem with what they showed is that of all the games to give an extended trailer to, you do not want to give it during Ace Attorney where they're actually showing actual events in the trailer and showing like, oh, here's the court case. Oh, here's what's happening. Here's like the decisions that can be made. Mm-hmm. And they showed it for 2 situations. One gave a really big spoiler for like who the identity of one of the characters is.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's like, don't show this now unless there's like a ton more in the game. But if there's only 10 episodes, you're showing 2 major parts of 2 of these situations. So that's the huge problem I had with that one, is that they showed new gameplay of it, but instead of just talking about it, they like actually showed it in action, which was a problem.
Yeah.
Like I wish they had more of the previous games, like you mentioned, like with Resident Evil. Show me more of that and less of Phoenix Wright.
It's the Great Ace Attorney, the one featuring his.
Oh yeah, the Ace Attorney Chronicles. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So the last thing they showed off there was actually just the Capcom esports stuff, and that was it. That was literally it.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping more for of that at least, but no, they kind of glossed over that they said a lot without saying anything with that part.
It was a complete waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a complete waste.
And yet,
of time.
still somehow better than half of the stuff that was actually shown. Some other companies, because I heard that Gearbox was a cringeworthy
I heard.
It was pretty cringe.
I don't think
we already discussed it.
Anything.
Yeah, they showed off Wonder World or Wonder.
Yeah, that was during the Xbox conference, though.
Mm-hmm. No, didn't they replay some of it, or am I imagining seeing it twice? I thought they showed it twice.
I can't tell you. I didn't watch it.
I thought they showed it twice. Or maybe I rewatched it. Never mind. I saw something about it twice.
For Nintendo that showing off?
Yeah, because I think aside from that, there were some pretty interesting VR games that were being shown, but I'm not too in tune into VR. I mean, do we just want to go over Nintendo and kind of wrap up our discussion?
No, wait a minute. We got to talk about Take-Two.
Oh, no.
Talk about Nintendo now.
We already.
Yes. So Take-Two.
we did talk.
So Take-Two had a conference.
We already kind of talk about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say we already kind of brushed off of the stuff with Take-Two.
Matt, you're in the chat. How dare you?
They did have some pretty good indie games that they kind of had a nice showcase for it by kind of cutting between not only the gameplay but the actual like developers, which I thought was pretty nice. Because there was some that I watched, like there was like a dog one or something, like where part of the money is actually going to not homeless shelters, like dog shelters and things. I was like, oh, that's a cool way to kind of promote the game, but also showcase the developers of that one. So I thought there was some cool nuggets from the rest of that day.
Right.
So are we ready to talk about Nintendo?
Yeah, you mean the real? Okay, now this podcast starts. Now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Now we can
after over an hour. Okay.
Yeah, we can actually segue from Capcom into something that, if you remember, Matt, Curtis and I had made a bet about with the Switch Pro. So now he has to play Ace Attorney.
and even what got announced like after E3 a little more.
That wasn't
recently,
even a Switch Pro either.
That wasn't. It wasn't even so much of a Switch Pro. It's kind of like a. It was like barely a Switch 1.5.
Yeah, it's
well, I mean, there was some dock improvements.
The updated
the Switch OLED, Switch OLED, the Switch lulled, the Switch lulled.
More like Switch sleep. More like Switch.
But I mean,
you can feel you were happy. Good job.
Okay, but going into the actual announcements, aside from the new Switch model, afterwards, we started off with our Smash Brothers announcement with Kazuya.
Yeah,
we were right. We were right on that prediction. Because remember, we did say that Namco should have another representative.
Mm-hmm. And they
did. Jin. I think I said Jin, but it ended up being Kazuya. So I was close.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Still not a bad pick.
You know what's funny? Smash fans literally got Smash fans will literally come up with any reason to complain about the game, and like that. And so the first, so we've gone from it's another Fire Emblem character, so now being like, it's another fighting game player character. It's like
it's a Shoto character.
It's a Shoto.
Like they got mad that it's a Shoto character, and it's like even Maximilian Dugas got on this. He was like, "Okay, you all shut up."
Kazuya is not a Shoto.
Yeah,
nope.
Even Max got on this bandwagon. He was mad. People kept complaining about this.
Yeah.
Can I also say that he's one of the most innovative Smash characters I've ever played? Because I'm part of a monthly, a weekly tournament, and we all play Kazuya. He is amazing in terms of how many moves they gave him with just 2 buttons is insane.
Yep.
They put and the animations, if you do a grab move, it actually moves the camera like Taken.
That's only 1v1 in groups. It doesn't do that.
Oh, true. But so he's not usable really in multiplayer matches because he doesn't know which direction to turn.
Yeah.
So only anyone should only use him in 1v1 matches. But he is amazing. Yeah. He's overpowered, and he will be nerfed very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also didn't help that when they actually had their Kazuya Presents that they also deconfirmed quite a bit for Mii Fighters. Rip Dovahkiin, Rip Dante, Rip Shantae.
Matt, that was not even. Shut up, Matt.
Yeah, they say devils never cry, but devils cry today.
That was no. Here's the thing.
Dante from Dante.
Listen, okay, so here's the thing. That wasn't at E3. That was at a later Kazuya event.
I mean, but we also mentioned the Switch OLED. The Switch OLED.
Did you guys see the the conspiracy with the all the characters Kazuya was tossing off of the mountain?
No, that was the meme of the.
That was the meme because that's how Nintendo
treats those games.
Oh no! So there was 2. One was that, and one was also every game that people speculated would be a an announcement during E3. They were actually tossing those characters off of the mountain. So no Bayonetta 3, no
Bayonetta didn't get knocked off. No, that was it was Arms Girl.
It was Min Marth, Pit,
Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon and then Ganondorf.
But see,
Yeah, but it
see,
was like all the characters that
here's
they were
here's the
saying.
thing. Here's the thing. That theory doesn't really hold water because there were Zelda announcements.
Yeah.
But Ganon isn't part of the new one, though.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he is.
He's not in the Breath of the Wild 2.
Who else
Well,
got
not
that we know
really.
of?
Not the Ganondorf in Smash, but like a different kind of Ganon.
Yeah, I do have all
Yeah,
the stuff that E3, which I do have all the stuff that Nintendo showed up at the direct up in case we forget anything.
Yeah, what was next after the Kazuya?
That's a good question.
Honestly, I don't
Oh
know.
wait, I think
second.
Square showed Guardians of the Galaxy again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was.
Hey! On the Nintendo Direct, they had timestamps to show everything that was shown off.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so second thing, Life is Strange remaster, yawn.
Oh yes, that.
Oh wait,
actually
that was shown in Square too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually is a pretty good announcement. Only because to take the graphics from the brand new one and to like port it to the Switch is very impressive. Especially for the remaster of the first two to be coming over. Because I know a
Did
lot
they
of people.
say the
Not a bad
first two?
idea.
Or was it
Yeah.
just the first one before the storm?
The first one before, so I think the second one though is coming later. I thought they said. I'd have to relook. I had to look back at it though. But I do know that True Colors is coming out for it, so I think they probably will just port everything over. But it was just exciting to hear that they're even doing the new one and the first one's over too.
So
I think that's pretty nice.
yeah, another thing they showed off was also Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania was also shown off.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good announcement because I think it's the 20th anniversary of Super Monkey Ball. So having the first two, which people really like, in a collection and remastered for the Switch.
It's all of them.
I might be. Really, I thought it was just the first two plus deluxe.
No,
It's the first
Yeah.
two, and I think the Game Boy Advance one. I thought they were included.
no, it's the first two in deluxe. What Matt said.
Okay. Still, that might be one to pick up though, depending on the price. That's a good collection.
Yeah, I think they said 40.
Oh, then definitely.
So
yeah, that's definitely a good pickup.
So the game after that was Mario Party Superstars of all things. New Mario Party.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that looked pretty good too.
It looked pretty good, yeah. The cake level looks really fun. I guess
And it had a lot of the older. It's basically like kind of an HD collection of some of the boards and a lot of the old mini games. Hopefully they have free updates of the newer boards. Free updates with some of the new renditions of older boards too, because that would be something to try out.
As long as they have more than the last game, then it should be an instant hit.
Yeah, and especially considering how online is going to be available at the start, which thank goodness.
Yeah. Yes.
And Mario Party Superstars,
that alone would be worth it. Would be worth a pickup.
New Mario Party, really good surprise. However, Metroid.
Metroid Dread.
Yes.
Metroid
Dread. That easily the best announcement of both the Direct and E3 as a whole.
No, the best
Metroid Dread.
That's definitely Elden Ring.
When I was seeing that, I was going nuts.
We count.
Metroid Dread. Yeah, Metroid Dread was
not only does it exist, it's also the Fusion sequel that we wanted, and it's also being made by Mercury Steam too.
Yeah, the same people who
and it's coming out like in a couple
October.
months. Yeah.
October. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually releasing at the same date as the new Switch model.
I can't believe
How did they keep that secret?
I can't believe Nintendo had missed a huge opportunity with the OLED by not calling it the Switch ME version. Also, random thing about the Switch OLED, they're very quiet about whether or not the Joy-Cons on that thing will drift. So, short answer, yes.
Well, granted, they've been dragging their feet with that forever, so that's not too.
Well,
that's not too much of a surprise.
Why? I guess my argument with that would be, why would they announce that yes, they will drift? You know?
Yeah, that
Like,
kind of hurt.
That's a lawsuit right to start. It's like, oh yes, we're making the system and our Joy-Cons will in fact drift.
It's almost as if this should have been a problem to begin with. It's almost as if you should have fixed this problem a long time ago. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay, so
but back
Metroid
to
Dread.
Metroid, it looks really good.
It looks
Like
really, really good.
I'm getting that day one. It's a shame that I still have not been able to get the special edition or the amiibos.
No one can
I
get the
think the
special
pre-order-
edition amiibo.
Yeah.
The pre-order is already closed.
Yeah.
And
It's like,
scalps.
why?
Scalpers are
Why?
Scalpers are reselling the special edition that isn't even out yet for $200. And I'm like, why?
Well, a
What is
lot
the
of
matter
special
with you
editions
people?
got canceled. So a lot of the scalpers that bought the special editions actually had theirs canceled.
Oh, haha. Well, to them it doesn't matter. They're rich anyway, so who cares? They don't care.
Yep. Very
They
true.
got all those PS5 stock in their garage anyway, waiting to get stolen.
Well,
But yeah, so Metroid Dread, dude, I love Samus's new armor. There's a reason why there's so much fan art
It's
of
really
Samus's
lit.
new armor.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. I
It
love how
looks
Samus
really good.
celebrated. I love how Samus celebrated
definitely-
4th of July better than literally everyone who celebrated 4th of July.
I think it's a nice hybrid between the old Various suit and the Fusion suit.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
hmm And I mean, we all know Metroid. There's definitely going to be some more armors in the game. That's just the default one. So that's that's a good start.
And pickups.
Uh-huh.
And what's
Well,
nice
dude-
is that, like in the interview, in the Treehouse interview afterward, they actually mentioned how they wanted to have this game out sooner, but they had to keep canceling it because the ideas that they have weren't working with the hardware at the time.
Because it
but
was supposed to be a
when Mercury,
DS title back in 2006.
yeah.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
that's insane.
that could explain why it took so long for Metroid 5 to, or Dread to even happen. But then they when they saw Mercury Steam do the Samus Returns Metroid 2 remake there, then all of a sudden they were like, you know what, I think these guys can do it. And sure enough, it looks like they're doing it.
And here's the funny thing about Metroid Dread. People love to complain about how Nintendo doesn't care about Metroid. They want it to die. They don't like Metroid anymore. They hate it so much. Here's the funny thing. Nintendo actually, I'll give Nintendo credit here, full out. Then they marketed the heck out of this game when it was announced.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of art. It's still art. They are like pushing this game really hard. So this is your big PSA, everyone. If you specifically if you want Metroid Dread to come back and keep coming back, you need to buy this game. Because at this point, it's your fault.
Yep.
It's your fault, not Nintendo's. Because they are pushing this game super hard.
Yeah, it's actually something I want to
And
bring
it
up
is
about that. Like even with like the OLED announcement, like the first game they showed off playing on it was a trailer,
Dread.
but anyways was Dread.
Yep.
So like
And
I'm seeing trying to push this.
And I'm seeing stores packing in Metroid Dread with the new OLED model too.
Yeah. Dude, it's even like Metroid Dread is so popular right now that even on the Wii U, people are buying Zero Mission and Fusion on the Wii U digital shop.
Yeah, even people who have never played Metroid before are interested in playing this game.
And Samus Returns is also like the top selling game on 3DS right now, I believe.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So it's making a comeback, and it hopefully will get. And hopefully it'll also give time for 4 to cook in the oven. Prime 4 to cook in the oven too.
Yeah. I mean, I still would wish that we got a Prime Trilogy port, but maybe one day we'll have to wait and see. But for now, this is good. I
am perfectly fine with Metroid Dread.
Yes.
It's like it's like the good way. It's like the best way for me to be okay with Prime 4 not being in the direct. It's like, oh, just announce Metroid 5. Have it be the Dread. Have Metroid Dread actually come to life, coming out this year.
So, are we ready to keep moving on?
Yeah, we're gonna keep moving on into cruising.
Here's the fun. Okay, so I need some clarity on this. I've never heard of this game.
Wait, so
here's the thing.
What am I uncultured? How am I uncultured now?
Okay, have you never
okay.
been to arcades often when you were a kid? Because Cruising USA was one of, like, at least in arcades that I went to, almost
arcade.
always in arcades.
I don't know what I don't know about it.
Because let me kind of break it down to you, Curtis. So the cruising games, which were initially Cruising USA, Cruising World, Cruising Exotica, those games, they were games surprisingly exclusive to Nintendo and arcades, and they were developed by Midway Games.
Right.
Yeah. Though USA was on N64.
Yes.
Yeah, USA was on N64 as well. And then
Exotica was on another system too, I think. I've never seen it somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, so when Midway went out of business, they kind of went into like different companies. One of them was NetherRealm, which is like all the Mortal Kombat stuff and fighting games. The other, I think, was a company in Chicago called WMS, which is focusing on like slot machines and stuff. And the third one, most importantly, is a company called Raw Thrills. They kind of took over Midway in the arcade area, and they are also a Chicagoland company, and they are responsible for some of the more recent arcade games, like they have an Halo arcade game, and they have like a bunch of other really nice arcade games. Cruisin' Blast did initially release in the arcades, and now it's finally getting a console.
Oh, so this is a quote unquote remaster of some kind.
Yeah, it's a console version of the arcade game, but it looks really good, and I want to try it out.
And for Switch, that's impressive because it's on the Switch. So
yeah.
So Cruising Blast happened.
So it's nice. Let's see, what was next?
DBC Kakarot port.
Yeah, DBC Kakarot port. They also had some other random announcements that were kind of hard to follow because I think they
more stories too, more Monster Hunter stories too. So who's ready to talk about the bad game that nobody liked called WarioWare? I'm just kidding.
No.
No. Wario. Yeah, everyone was going nuts over WarioWare because that actually looks pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah, people were like really. I don't know anything about WarioWare, but people are really, really happy about this. So whatever. So cool.
It should be pretty cool with the Joy-Con.
I don't think it's bad. I don't know. I just
and I think WarioWare, I think it supports online play too. I think it also supports online play.
So is this like a brand new game?
Yeah. Yeah, it's new. It's not like the one on 3DS, which was WarioWare Gold, which was just a collection of past minigames from the series.
Excuse me.
Kind of like Mario Party: The Top 100.
Yeah, we don't speak about that game. So, yeah, Superstars is what Top 100 should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to talk more about that, or do you want to move on?
I mean, we could. It's just nice to see a new WarioWare game. Oh, speaking of nice to see a new game, we are getting a remake of the first two Advance Wars.
You're skipping ahead, Matt. You're skipping
ahead. And by Way Forward, no less.
Yeah, and by Way Forward, no less.
Advance Wars,
that is nice.
Well, crazy surprise. Advance Wars 1 and 2 remakes. Like, dude, what the heck? Like,
I know they're bringing back a lot of old stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's your Fire Emblem. There's your Fire Emblem.
I was thinking the same thing.
There's your Fire Emblem.
I mean, you know what? Advance Wars needs some attention.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give Advance Wars some proper attention.
Definitely.
It's been dead since the DS.
So the other game that we kind of skipped over, I don't know why you guys skipped over. Shin Megami Tensei 5 was shown off.
Finally, we get to see gameplay of that, and that looked pretty nice.
Did we talk about how the release date got leaked for that game before the Direct?
I think it was like a week before.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, it was. Somebody lost their job that day. Somebody got fired that day.
All I know is November is going to be a very wallet-hurting busy month for me because there's Shin Megami Tensei 5, there's the Pokemon Sinnoh remakes, there's Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. Aww.
Tensei 5, Danganronpa.
Yeah, Duncan Robin.
Oh, yeah,
Rampa's in December.
With the new one.
Yeah, Danganronpa is. I think the entire series is getting ported over to Switch.
Except for Ultra
and
Despair
in the
Girls.
physical version too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ultra
with like
Despair
a
Girls
weird.
is included for some reason.
Oh, there's the one's not included.
Ultra Despair
Yeah,
Girls.
it's called Ultra
for some
Despair
reason.
Girls.
It's weird that they don't include that, but they're including like a weird board game mode at the end of it. But yeah, that's one of the ones from E3 that I would actually like pre-order just to make sure I can get the physical version of that one, because that one's going to the eShop in the different pieces of the game, and the only way to get the full one is to pre-order.
Right.
I thought they had like a bundle that you can get digitally.
They do?
I
I
think
think
so.
they do.
Oh, that's good to hear too. Does it come with that little board game mode too, or is that only for the physical one?
I think that can be bought separately, maybe. I'm honestly not sure.
So
Okay.
anything else you want to talk about with that?
Not with that specifically. I just kind of wanted to give you guys kind of a bit of a heads up. I'm probably going to have to kind of wrap things up in 15 minutes. So, is there anything else we need to cover before we go into like the last announcement?
We have two important things.
Before Zelda. Before Zelda.
This is Zelda. Yeah, two important things.
They're
with
both.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, interestingly enough, Zelda was actually kind of low on announcements. Given that it's also its anniversary. No, but let me talk, please. Because here's the thing. We already know about Skyward Sword HD and that it's coming to, pretty soon, like in like a few days. And I know that, the biggest thing is, of course, Breath of the Wild sequel, which, looks pretty nice. We'll get to that. But it is kind of strange that, like, in between those two, the only thing they had to announce was a Legend of Zelda Game & Watch, and that they said that they had nothing else planned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love how they're having anniversary Game & Watches. Like, I managed to grab a Super Mario Brothers one, and, I would like to see more of those. But at the same time, it's like, with all the stuff that you did for Mario, why so little for Zelda? Because Zelda is usually seen as like the next big franchise behind Mario. You think they would have more like...
I think it's probably just from the pandemic, like kind of after effects of that. Because I'm sure they... Oh, what's that?
That's true.
That's a sequel, a collectible, and a remake of a heavily disliked game.
Okay, I will argue about Skyward Sword, but I'm not going to right now.
I will not argue about Skyward Sword because I really don't care. So yeah, the one thing that
I heard opinions were mixed regarding Skyward Sword.
So the one thing, the first thing that's cool about the Zelda stuff, Zelda on a motorcycle as a playable character in Hyrule Warriors.
The Hyrule Warriors expansion.
How dare you, Matt? How dare you not talk about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC? How dare you? How dare you?
Because I completely forgot.
Didn't they announce it like last year?
Yeah, that was announced.
Well, no, they announced it in the last direct, but it was just a basic, small, like it exists sort of thing. They actually showed off what was in the first expansion. Before Skyward Sword HD, that's what they showed.
But yeah, the main thing to take away from the DLC. The main thing to take away from the DLC is that Zelda is on a motorcycle in this game, and it is
Zelda's on a bike. Zelda's on a bike,
except for the fact that like it still runs like trash. And Switch OLED, doesn't do anything with that at all. So rest in peace, Switch Pro, because that is never happening now. Anyways, so yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 got a full-on trailer. People were like super happy with this, from what they saw. I mean, and honestly, this looks fine. This looks pretty good.
It at least gives Zelda fans something other than Zelda on a bike. I think
there was like a release window for next year, I believe, and they're still saying it's like early in development, so we'll have to wait and see.
It'll get delayed.
I I don't honestly have much to say about Zelda 2, so you guys are both about 2, so you guys are more than welcome to take the helm.
I would say
I'm not too into Zelda myself, unfortunately, so I don't have much to say there. Go on, Phil.
Okay.
It looks weird only because it looks like a combination of like a Skyward Sword meets Breath of the Wild, because they're like flying and somehow like going underneath the ground and popping up for no apparent reason.
That looks weird. I was like, what's up with that mechanic? More detail with that.
I can only
Link's
see the
got an
puzzles,
augmented arm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Augmented artificial arm.
He's just like Sekiro now. This is Sekiro on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's really like, I think they need to show a lot more of it, because some of it did seem like the same, like him picking up boulders and kind of rolling them. You can pick up metal in the other games, so.
But I mean, they showed off some pretty nice stuff, though.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
It was nice, but like to me, it kind of looks very similar to the other one, just in the sky. So
I think mainly because it's a direct sequel. Because one could argue that Majora's Mask looks really similar to
the one thing I know about this game is that they haven't. The reason why they haven't revealed the title of the game yet is apparently it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
So whatever that means, you'll have to wait and see. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. People will be like,
like
oh my gosh, it's this good spoiler about this. I think I'm doing
The Legend of Zelda. Calamity Ganon returns, or Legend of Zelda. Zelda falls into a pit and dies.
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I do like how the Sheikah runes are tied to the I guess you could call it possessed arm, or whatever you want to refer to it as, rather than a Sheikah slate, because Zelda has a Sheikah slate now.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully Zelda's playable. That'd be cool. I'd like that.
It would be really nice to have Zelda playable outside a side game. Like
let the character
like Hyrule Warriors.
The Legend of Zelda.
It can actually be the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, let the character who the games are actually named after be playable. Finally, that took you long enough. But other than that, I think that was the last thing that Nintendo showed off for the Direct.
Yeah, that was the last thing.
I did want to say that with the I guess with their Game & Watch thing, it was cool that they at least added like a few new things to it. Like I think it had like an endless battle mode or something in it. Even though I guess it was kind of like the Zelda 2 mode of it, but just kind of they built upon what they made with the Mario Brothers one, and at least kind of stepped it up a little bit. I guess like in one mode, the dungeon is the time, so like you're going around fighting things while it's the time, like showing off the time of day. So that's what I actually was pretty interested in too.
Yeah, and then
I would like to see more of
the Mario one only had like the first Super Mario Bros. Game, while the Zelda one has like 4 of them. It has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link's Awakening, the Game Boy one, and then there's like a Game & Watch version of this. It's basically Whack-A-Mole, but with Link.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the Mario one has Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, as in the original 2, and Ball.
Oh, I didn't know it had the US version of 2.
No, it didn't have the USA version of 2. It had the original 2.
I mean Lost Levels,
Lost
but
Levels.
It was called US and in Japan.
You're thinking of I know that the naming convention is so confusing. You're talking about the one based off Doki Doki Panic. No, we actually got the Lost Levels, but Super Mario Brothers 2 as the NES, as the original NES version of it. I know it's weird because naming conventions can be weird, especially because there was a time where there was like New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers 2, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, New Super Mario Brothers U, and then of course there's New Super Mario Brothers Land, New Super Mario Brothers World, New Super Mario 3D Land, New Super Mario Brothers World, and it's just like.
And then they have
Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe,
New Super Mario Deluxe, yeah.
U Deluxe.
New Super Mario's with Luigi.
With Luigi.
Yep.
Now I'm interested in the Mario one. Looks at eBay. Nope, not anymore.
Yeah, so I guess that's about
Okay,
it
guys.
for E3, in all honesty.
Yeah. So got roughly
Honestly-
about 5 minutes left before
Yeah,
I
what
gotta
a-
wrap
what a-
everything
what
up.
a lackluster
Any
E3.
final thoughts?
What a lackluster E3. Only good things were like a couple of things from Microsoft and Epic and Summer Game Fest, and Nintendo obviously just stole the spotlight just because it's Nintendo. So that was yeah. Half of it was just like, why do we even have an E3 at all at this point? We could have just had this stuff be trailers and that be it. It was definitely felt like some parts like a waste of time. Some parts were just like whatever. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I will reiterate when I said near the start, just especially that this was before you hopped on Reeve. I think that it was a good way of showing how an all digital E3 could work, but it just so happens that we're still like in like a very uncertain kind of situation that carried over from last year. So companies are still kind of struggling. It also didn't help that with how some of the announcements were tied, as both before and after E3, some companies were kind of caught with their pants down a little bit. And some kind of looked like they didn't really have, actually quite a few looked like they didn't really have a whole lot to show.
Were you guys
But
surprised?
overall, I would say at the very least, Microsoft and Nintendo were good. Devolver was an enjoyable meme fest. Capcom's was understandable. They showed what they promised they would show. And it also should be mindful that in addition to, the stuff that's going on, they also suffered a ransomware leak. So they're probably still reeling from that. And pretty much everyone else was just dumpster. It was a dumpster.
Like, who cares?
Were you guys surprised that they
But-
didn't have more demos like for us to play at home? Because it was only
Honestly, yeah, kind of.
Because for it to be the first all digital, I thought they
Yeah.
would have had more like, hey, since you can't play it on the show floor, play it at home. The only ones that they had were the Square Enix one that broke, and
Yeah,
The Final Fantasy Chaos.
that was a bad showing of that. Yeah, honestly, like, yeah, it's no wonder people are saying that like E3 is gonna die. Oh, Phil's cam died. Yeah, it's no wonder people are saying that like E3 is gonna probably die most likely in this rate because all these companies are just doing their own their own directs.
I mean,
Sony wasn't-
I still
Sony
think
wasn't even here.
I still think it could still exist as a way of all the companies showing their stuff all at the same time. But yeah, it was kind of it was sort of like kind of a jumbled mess for a good chunk of it. But at least some companies brought their A game. Yeah, Phil kind of dropped.
But what if? Hey, at least we know that what if the real E3 was the friends that we made along the way?
We made along the way.
Yeah, that was the real E3.
Okay. Yeah. Phil just said that his page froze at the end. Are we still online?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, but we
Anything for Reeve?
are
Reeve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
going to wrap things up.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to talk about. Not much else to talk about anyway. In all honesty.
I'm just looking forward to Metroid. I want October to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want same. I want Metroid Dread like yesterday.
I want Elden Ring, but I got my PS5 right now, so I'm good for now. So I'm taking care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bide your time with Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Yep. And all of your up-res PS4 games.
Yes, except for
Mike.
Bloodborne. No Bloodborne.
Yeah. So Phil's internet keeps freezing, so I think we're just gonna wrap things up right now since
That's fine.
think we've managed to cover everything.
Don't forget to plug us. Don't forget to plug us, man.
Of course. So you can catch Curtis over at JudeKnight at YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Mhm.
And you can catch Reeveelution over at YouTube and Twitch. And of course, you can catch me at my socials listed at the ticker down below. Thank you for joining us at our post E3 discussion. I'll try to get back to streaming as soon as I can. I'm resuming Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Things have been a little crazy, but hopefully I could start smoothing things out soon. Hopefully get some edited content along the way too. Hey Phil. Yeah, I was gonna say you're here just in time for us to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And Phil needs to get socials to share too on YouTube and
plugs.
Twitch. Social plug. You need to get social plugs so you could stream and stuff and co-host and all that cool things. So, but with all that said,
Discord.
yeah, you can add it. But with all of that said, everybody, hope you have yourselves an enjoyable evening and take care.
And Elden Ring, it no longer burns, it's cold! I don't know, I want to say Elden